think the nice thing about this show is that we can just spit out random ideas, and this is like enough. That's all the value proposition that we're giving. We have the ideas, and then we want, hey, major satisfaction, no delayed gratification, super.
Let's talk about a few ideas today that we thought would be really interesting for a newsletter business. The first one we thought about, but it's already out there, is this thing on Product Time. Tom, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this is actually an interesting take on the concept of newsletter. They're saying instead of me building a newsletter that will be sent out to all of my audience, I will segment out my audience into specific pieces, and I will deliver a different newsletter to all of the segments in my audience. Now, this might look like it's a little bit of a new thing. It's actually not. People have been segmenting and sending different newsletters to different people for a very long while. What they're saying that is interesting is we will aggregate a lot of information from a lot of different places. We will segment that by topics or by interests. I haven't dug too deep into it. And then anybody who subscribes can choose their interest, and we will send them this kind of segmented, highly niche content for them in the inbox every week or every month or whatever. The reason why this is a good idea is because this is a personal flip that kind of moves the personalization from the marketer side to the audience side. Essentially, instead of me already sending you a segmented newsletter based on what I know about you as part of my audience, we're saying you tell us what you want to hear, and we will break up, or rather gather all of the information into specific buckets and then send you that very highly targeted and summarized kind of data.
And another big thing I want you to think about, when you're thinking about a newsletter, there's a lot of work on the curation and the editorial side. If you can minimize that work, you're basically creating a passive money-making machine, right? So if they're using AI or whatever to curate those links automatically, they don't need to put a lot of time on the editorial side. So for example, in my newsletter, it takes like 20, 30 hours to write the newsletter. It's a lot of work. It's not passive income at all. So part of the ideas that we want to bring today are on the side of how do you make a good business, a good money-making machine through this medium of newsletters. So Tom, if you don't mind, I want to start with a few of my ideas before we talk about the main idea, just because I think they're easier to digest. So the first one I was thinking about, this is the first idea, is a newsletter about advertisement opportunities. I'm still kind of bullish on this. I'm not sure I want to share this, but I'll do it anyways. So basically, if you look at advertising stuff online, you have a few of the old big players, the incumbents, right? You have Google Ads, you have Meta, that they have their own ad platform. Now Bing is starting, like Microsoft's advertisement platform is starting to go up because of all the Bing and ChatGPT stuff. But you have all those known stuff, but then you have those small, kind of unknown advertisement opportunities. So for example, if you want to promote a dev tool, a big place you can promote it at is newsletters. Imagine you had kind of like a directory that shows you all these hidden opportunities. And when I say hidden, I just mean they're not one of the big players that everyone knows about. And it tells you, this is a good place to advertise. These are the prices that you can get to advertise there. This is the audience there. And we're going to bubble up all these hidden opportunities for advertisements there. That's the basic idea. And send it as a newsletter. It's a cool newsletter because you're talking about like hidden opportunities, so it has a lot of value. Second thing is the people that are going to subscribe are people that are very interesting. So I think they're worth a lot more than the normal bunch of subscribers. And yeah, I think it can also be a paid newsletter too, because the value is so high up there. Tom, do you understand the idea?
Yeah, I do. I have a question. So I like many things. I think this type of newsletter business is more about not unlike other businesses, but more so than a lot of things that we talk about. This is really about the value proposition, because in essence, it is just a newsletter, right? So you're trying to figure out how to differentiate it from what's already existing in the market. What I liked about the Daily Nuggets thing is that they turned it, they kind of coined the term. They used the term dynamic newsletter, right? This is what caught my eye and caught my attention, though. They are literally saying, we will give you a dynamic newsletter. I've never heard of a dynamic newsletter before. I know of the concepts behind it, but they put it in a box that makes a lot of sense. So I think what I'm asking is, how would you take what would be the catchphrase or kind of like the copy solve for this, if you get what I'm saying.
It should be something along the lines of, don't advertise like anyone else. We'll show you all the advertisement opportunities you never knew about.
Yeah, so I actually have a term for it, if you don't mind me saying. But it would be like in a game where you discover in the mini map the dark spaces. I don't know if anybody played like a game here, but like probably people played games here, Fog of War, right? So like in RPGs and like in normal like dungeon exploration type scenarios, then you would essentially go and like walk towards a specific region of the game, and until you've walked there, the field will be dark. Like there will not be, you can't see what's happening there. So this is kind of like this. We are letting you walk into new inventory opportunities and new kind of possibilities to advertise you didn't know about before. So to me, and the term is inventory, right? Because you sell places you can publish your stuff at, right? So I would call it, for example, and this is a very bad kind of start at this, but inventory discovery, something in that realm. Not that because it's long and cumbersome, but just stop to talk about discovering new inventory, the new frontier of advertising, unlock hidden opportunities, stuff like that. Very B2B, but again, it's B2B. So.
Now the cool thing about it, a lot of newsletters, they also have this like crazy thing they're doing. So for example, Milk Road that we showed you before, they invested $1 million into crypto. So that got a lot of people to say, oh, they're serious about this, let's subscribe. In this idea, what I think you can do is also put aside an amount of money. So let's say $10,000 and test those $10,000 in those advertisement inventory opportunities and give back the ROI that you're getting from it. So you can actually put your own money and show real results and say, ooh, the ROI in this opportunity is amazing if you're targeting this type of audience. So basically, that's the first idea. Second idea is a lot shorter. It's basically this. So I opened a business, a company, and in companies, you have this concept of expenses. So if I buy headphones or I buy a laptop, I can expense that from the company. And I was thinking, at some point, I was like, I'm not expensing enough things in my company. I'm not doing a good job as the CEO of this company because it just means that I'm paying a lot more to the tax authorities at the end of the year. So I was thinking, maybe there's a cool newsletter that someone can create, which is basically show me new gadgets that come along that are business expensible. Okay? So for example, if there's a new accessory that I can add to my laptop and that could help me in my work, put that in the newsletter, get an affiliate link for that accessory, and I would like to buy that because this is business expense. So basically, it's a win-win for all parties.
So what you're saying is, I will find opportunities for people to spend their already existing money, right? The money that they have for expenses on various stuff that can be expensible. And then I would benefit from the fact that there's already money there and people need to spend essentially. And it's not currently being spent, right? On these things. It kind of reminds me of the gift card industry, where a lot of gift cards go unused, right? And that's money already spent, and then the money just stays there. And then there's like marketplaces where you can buy and sell gift cards and exchange them for other gift cards because you can then, stuff like that. Same thing with tax refunds. A lot of companies do tax refunds, and then they will take a percentage out of the amount of money they were able to collect back from the government. So I like this concept of, capturing in on existing money spent. The problem here is this is a B2C product. And I think this is not a B2B product at all. The incentive of the company is not actually to get you to spend more money on your allowances. It's to give you the appearance of you having the money to do that, but not having you actually spend it. Sure, it's in the budget, but
I'm talking about mostly companies like me. So it's only one person in the company, or there are a lot of these sole proprietor companies. So let's, for example, say we three of us have a company. I think all three of us would like to get that email.
Because there's only two of us here, so I don't know who is the third person.
Yeah, I'm giving an example of creating a company, a small company. But basically, I want to know what I can expense on that would make my business better. And if I have a newsletter that's curated and I know that every product there I can expense, so I don't need to think, oh, is this expensible or not? There's a higher chance that I'll buy that thing, especially if I see some value in it. So, and just to add to that, when I sign up to this newsletter, you want to segment me by my country, so where my company is based, and what industry I'm in, because that also defines if this could be an expense or not, right? Because different countries and different industries have different types of expenses they can have.
So
and
what
this
you're
is
saying
super
is
cool
this would
because you
not
can
be like,
get, yeah, you can get like super personalized and segmented audiences that want to be segmented. This usually doesn't happen. Like when somebody subscribes to my newsletter, I basically only know their IP, and from that IP, I can get their like country of origin. But here, they'll want to give you their real exact country, location, and industry, and that's super cool for advertisements too.
so I would put it like this. I like the idea of it. There's like, so let's talk about selling businesses for a moment. If you want to sell your company later on, then I don't know if these would consider add backs. Like you're not talking about expensing a boat, right? You won't be expensing your boat to create a company. You're saying things that make sense on a business side of things, but you would usually buy it on your own personal like credit card like accounts, and instead you want to buy them on the company card because they are expensive, right? That's what you're saying.
No,
So I
I'm
completely
saying,
understood the idea.
yeah. I'm sorry for all the listeners that were getting this, but I guess this is good.
It is
To
good.
clarify,
It is good
yeah.
because it is important.
Shut up for a second.
No, you shut up for a second. It's important for you to understand, guys, that we do a little bit of research beforehand, but we do a lot of these things live. We think it's an interesting format. The commenters think it's an interesting format. The only person who doesn't think it's an interesting format is this fuckwad on the other end of the channel telling me that this is not interesting. We have a disagreement on that. So,
Go. Thank you. So you have a business, Tom. I know you never had one, but when you have a company, okay? I'm kidding. When you have a company that's an LLC, you can expense stuff. So these headphones, I can expense through the company. Why would I buy them with my personal account if this is something I'm using for my business? If I get a weekly email with things that I could buy, for example, a light, right? I'm using this light for the business. I'm having calls with clients. If I can see a list of these gadgets, for example, and I can know that all of them there's a good chance I can expense them through the company, I'd want to get that email, because then I'll be like, "Ooh, I don't have this thing, and this is cool, and I can expense it from the company." It reduces the amount of thinking I have to do before buying it, because I want to do it through the company and expense it. That's the idea.
yeah. So again, I think I understood the idea to begin with, but my main concern here is let's kind of move it over to the go-to-market for a moment. And it's not the value of having these people as your customers, but I understand the value of the service that you're giving. Let's, again, talk about it from the go-to-market, because this is how I understand things. So who is the ICP? Who's the ideal customer from your perspective? A sole proprietor?
I think a small business, a small to medium, not even medium, a small business. So for example, a 1-person business up to, let's say, 10-person business, right?
Right.
And usually the managers of the company, because they have the authority to buy something.
Yeah, of course. So you're saying the person who needs to, or can rather, buy stuff and then expense them, and have a little bit of a problem figuring out what is expensible and what is not. And would you take the money off like the affiliate commission of the product that you are suggesting, or would you charge a person subscription for this?
You can go a few ways. I think the easiest way at the beginning is just an affiliate link, because then you don't need to talk to anyone. You don't need to do like this weird checkout experiences. You just register to CJ affiliate and you add, a bunch of stuff from there. If you're talking about go-to-market, because that's where you wanted to start talking about, I think you can start with a platform that lets you advertise. So you just put, let's say, $500 and you see if you can get these small to medium businesses just from advertisements. I wouldn't make it too complicated.
Okay, I like this. And I think this is something that, so again, it's a problem. You're scratching your own itch. Like, I get that. But I think the main thing that's interesting here is how far you can take this for the kind of how big of a problem is this? And this can be a small business that works well. And it can also be a really big business if you move over to general, like a platform play for small business owners and the rest of the problems. Because the main invoicing and account management tools and like accounting tools, they will deal with the main problems of running a business. But you're talking about a niche problem that is more of a nitpick that really can help people. And I think that there's a subsection of tools somewhere in the world that deal with these type of problems. I just haven't met them yet. So interesting, and I would like to explore this further. But can I please talk about my thing now? Please, I've been waiting so patiently, and I wanted to do that. Okay, thank you. So, I have this idea of competitive research newsletter. Essentially, what I'm saying is a lot of the things that we do here is by looking at other industries and what like happens there and figuring out if my tool would fit in that industry. A lot of that is figuring out what the competition looks like, what the landscape looks like. I just been doing this for a very long while, and Agam has as well from two different perspectives. I think, Agam, correct me if I'm mistaken, but a lot of the time when we're talking about competitive research, when I'm talking about competitive research, I'm talking about like doing manual stuff that involve like looking into a bunch of the assets of the company, the social media page, the PPC research, the SEO copy, the review research, LinkedIn, again, everything that I can put my hands on. I really feel that Agam has his own version of this, where he goes mainly to the website and the SEO side of things and kind of reviews what's over there in a more holistic type of thing. Agam looks at the bigger picture, I'd say, and I look more at the nuances or the smaller stuff along the way. Correct me if I'm mistaken. That's what it's my
just what you're saying is basically there is a role in a lot of places. For example, let's take VCs, okay? And they want to look into a company. They're looking to invest in a new startup. And they want to check who are the competitors for that startup. So they have this junior person that says that they work in this VC, but basically all the things they're doing is browsing the internet and starting to like categorize where are their competitors at. So how are they doing in the marketing side? How is their like product looking like? What features they have? What, messaging and branding they have? Like all these things, the pricing they have, they try to categorize it into different business topics, and they give like at the end kind of this report of this other
research report.
Yeah,
a competitive
basically.
So I think, and again, I might be wrong here, but that's my feeling. Again, you are more of a holistic. You look at the holistic side of things, and you figure out how the product looks like and feels like as a whole, as a product.
I feel I feel like I like product. I like to see the product and what features it has, and I like to see what the direction it is going to. So like, what's the vision of this product?
Right, which is softer. It's like, it's more of your feelings and thoughts about what the message is that they're conveying. I'm much more tactical. So I would say, how does this page look like? What's the SEO rating? What's the PPC rating? Like, I would go and figure out all the bits and bytes and figure out whether this makes sense to go into or not. How big the competition is on the tactical level. Right? I don't think either approach is good or bad. It's just a different type of thing. You need both. Exactly. You need both to make it work. So I was thinking, what if we could create a newsletter where we do competitive research for a specific category of product that we don't know a lot about, right? Otherwise we would be biased, or we don't know a lot about. And then we'll just break down the tactics of what we do. And we actually started brainstorming this and talk about a little bit about what would be a good industry. We thought about password managers as a first kind of foray into this business. I feel that, and we actually almost wrote the entirety of the first newsletter when, Agam decided to quit and then go do Zip.dev instead. That's how I remember the story. But never mind. Let's put it aside. So we thought about breaking up all of these processes, those flows that Agam and I do, put that into a newsletter and show how we would research this from one of those products perspectives. So we take an existing tool in the ecosystem, then show its competitors, and break down all the strategies as if we were the competitive research people for this tool. We figured it would be a great newsletter and something that, a lot of people.
And the name, drum roll,
Battle of the Brands, which is like Battle of the Bands, but Battle of the Brands. I think the nice thing about this show is that we can just spit out random ideas, and this is like enough. That's all the valuable position that we're giving. We have the ideas, and then we want, yay, major satisfaction, no delayed gratification, super cool. So what I'm saying is, Battle of the Brands would be a look into one brand in the competitive research around it, also breaking up all the different categories inside of those competitive research, tools.
So how would you split the categories? You remember what we wrote there?
Yes. I'm just going to read it out because it's pretty easy. You have website research, which is mostly on message, product, and pricing. That's more your area. We'll have the social research, which is go through all the pages and figure out where the social crowd hangs out with these people or does not. The press research will be which will be the press release research. I also, share this list at the description at the bottom just so people can use it. So press release research are basically all the publication and mainstream media stuff that's out there. The paid research, which is the PPC, the pricing points, and the CPC, and the ad copy research. Event research, figuring out which events they went to. SEO research, which is SEO research. Review research, which is looking at extension, plugin, customer, whatever reviews, and figuring out what people say about it. Researching the newsletter and the emails that they send out, subscribing to everything they have, and researching it, and researching the employee and the career people there, which type of people they hire, what do they do, yada yada. I also had another idea, which is more of a little bit of a black hat thing, which is actually go on a sales meeting with these people and figure out how they're trying to sell to me. I don't like that. It feels dishonest. People do that all the time. And I always feel that if I'm just doing research and I don't intend on buying it, it's just not fair to do that. Unless you're a competitor, and then fuck you. But if you're just, a person out there like me, it's not like, don't do that to people. It sucks if you're doing this newsletter. But if you can get a conversation with the salesperson outside of a pitch, just talk to them, that would be cool.
I think we're also missing the investment, let's say entities involved. That's also very interesting usually. But basically what Tom is saying is create a newsletter called Battle of the Brands that takes some kind of SaaS industry, for example, password managers. You list out all the different competitors and you rank them and write like insights on all these categories that Tom just said. And this is a newsletter you send out. Now, Tom, why is this a fucking great idea?
Why is this a great idea? First of all, because I said it. But other than that, you can immediately connect with those brands because you're talking about them and you're publishing stuff about them. And the people in those brands will talk to you. As soon as you mention them on social, you send them an email, hey, I did this and this about you. They will have opinions, bad or good. But again, all press is good press. But generally, they will be interested in continuing the discussion with you in some way, shape, or form. For consultants, that's amazing because you will get an in with the company. But just for people who want to grow the newsletter, just growing it, it will grow by merit of people from those companies sharing out your information with them because you will pop up on their social. Also, if I were a person, what I intended to do was actually send a copy of the newsletter every time I released it to the VP marketing of those companies. Hey, we just released a newsletter about you. What do you think? VP marketing, like people who do like CMOs and VP vice presidents of marketing, it's pretty tight-knit community in those larger companies. Everybody knows everyone. So it's kind of like a nice way into those companies and then figuring out if you can help with anything else. So yeah, I love this idea. And again, the only reason we did it is because completely outside of my realm, Agam decided to go ahead and build a super successful dev tool newsletter.
Just to fuck up Tom's story, you can check when I started on Zip and when this idea was coming up. But basically, I think this is also cool because the audience that you're going to get, these are very interesting people to have in your subscription list. The reason we didn't do this, the real reason, was because it's a ton of fucking work. Okay? When we started trying to do the password managers issue, it was very hard to get it. It was like blood, sweat, and tears to get the first issue going. But I want to say something about it. I think that every good newsletter, especially today with all the AI crap generated outside, if you create something with quality that people can see, you're going to get a lot of subscribers. And the second thing is, a lot of these processes that we did manually, you can automate over time. So for example, the SEO metrics, you can create crawlers and scrapers that figure out that information automatically. You don't have to do it all manually. But the first issue that we wanted to do everything manually and then see how it goes. So that kind of, just because we're lazy and we said, we have up for grabs, we can just talk about it there. But that's
true. May I part with like a comment about like a meta thing before we leave everyone and kind of let them be their own thing. So we started up for grabs. Agam came back from a flight. He told me he got off the plane, called me, Tom, I have something I gotta tell you. We gotta do this. I'm like, I like it when Agam does this. All of our greatest ideas come from Agam. I'm an executor and Agam just is like the big idea, the big picture guy. And I always felt as if most of when he hits something that I'm also super excited of out of the box, we should just do it. That's how our programs came to be. We recently reached 250, 260, 270 subscribers based on some marketing stuff that we did, which is super awesome. I know we're just getting started. It takes some time to grow it. We exploded, but we're super excited doing this. a lot of these ideas are much more fully formed than when we started App for Grab. They're super, super fully formed. And very soon we'll have a person on this cast who actually came to us based on one of the ideas that we suggested, Victor. And I think that a lot of the things that we talk about here are super actionable. So if you have some sort of contemplation and you're not sure on how to hop on the idea together, get a friend who's also into like the business and entrepreneurship stuff. Just run with them through one of our videos. Come together on the cast. We'll talk about it together and we'll help you figure it out together. But yeah, we just mainly want to see people kind of take these things and run with them. So let us know what else we can do to help you get started on the journey. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.